Hi, this is David Kaufman, voice of some of your favorite animated characters, such as Danny Phantom, Marty McFly from Back to the Future, the animated series, Dexter Douglas from Freakazoid, and of course, Jimmy Olsen from Superman, the animated series. And you're watching In Conversation with Amber the Fangirl.
Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. Now, my guest today is a guest I've wanted on my show for the longest time. He is an actor, a voice actor, a stage actor, a commercial actor. He has voiced characters like Marty McFly in Back to the Future, the animated series, Steven Seagal in Animaniacs, Dexter Douglas in Freakazoid, Jimmy Olsen in Superman, the
There you
animated
go.
series. There we go.
One of those superheroes.
I can't. It's a shame he didn't appear in any of the new Batman Adventures crossover episodes that they did
I
with
know.
Batman as Superman. Yeah, I know Lois
Yeah.
did, but not Jimmy. Yeah, I wanted that. Stuart Little from Stuart Little, the animated series. Did you do the third movie as well, or was it just the animated series that you did?
Um, it's so funny because I've had a couple people ask me that. I did the animated series. And I think that grew out of the fact that I had done Marty for Back to the Future. So when they were sort of putting the tendrils out there looking for what you need, because Michael couldn't do the series
Yeah.
for whatever reason. And so that led into me doing the series of Stuart Little. But bit of trivia, I actually get little tiny little residual checks for the movies because
Oh.
I did a ton of ADR for
Oh,
Stuart Little and the sequel, I
the
guess. Yeah.
sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, Michael did an amazing job with with Stewart's voice in the live action. But he was so busy that he didn't have time to come and do the little and the little the little Stewart
Yeah.
jumping from the
Yeah.
table onto
Yeah.
a balloon or a string or whatever. So I would come in and I did a lot of those a lot of the little panting and grunts and it's kind those are me. So
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
luckily, and it's so funny because it all, in a weird way, I've had many, many ties to Michael J. Fox throughout the years. And it's just so funny. I owe him. It's someday, I want to just say thank you to him because I owe him this debt of gratitude because all through the 80s, I did a ton of commercials because they would always be asking for, because Michael was doing Family Ties. We were looking for a Michael J. Fox type. We're looking for this commercial or that commercial. So I cleaned up commercials. It's so many commercials as being the Michael J. Fox type. And even some, TV, comedies and sitcoms and stuff like that, like guest starrings, things like that. And then I went in to do audition for a commercial, and I was there, and the casting director uh, of this commercial was also casting Back to the Future, the animated series. And he kind of stuck his head out and he
Wait,
saw me,
who was the casting director?
Danny Goldman.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. I thought it was the same guy who did the voice directing for the cartoon.
No, 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 no. Not he wasn't the voice director.
That was Kelly Ward, the
That was
legendary
Kelly
Kelly
Ward.
Ward.
That was Kelly Ward, yes. But Danny Goldman, I
Down.
know it's like this weird, it's such a rabbit hole. I mean, the industry is such a rabbit hole. You mentioned one name and it takes you in a whole other story.
6
But
degrees of
quickly
Kevin
to
Bacon,
go up
essentially.
for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
Danny Goldman, he is in Young Frankenstein. He's
Mhm.
in the very beginning scene with Gene Wilder where he's in the classroom and he's the student that
Wow.
asks this question and Gene Wilder freaks out at him and everything. So that Danny Goldman was always known for that. But Danny Goldman was very good to me, cast me in a lot of things. But he looked out, saw me in the waiting room. He goes, David, I want you to audition. Do you want to audition for this Back to the Future, the animated series? He called me into his office. I was like, sure, okay, yeah. He goes, I think you could replicate his voice, if just with a slight little bit of manipulation. And I was like, okay. So I went in, auditioned, got it, and that led to my voiceover career, which I had never really pursued voiceover before that. So I just sort of fell into voiceover. It wasn't anything I was ever really had on my radar, but I fell into it and then met my voiceover agents at the little premiere party for that, and that just led to that.
And thus began the long voiceover career of Mr. David Kaufman. Welcome to In Conversation with ATF. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's really great to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. And honestly, I've literally got a list right next to me. You've done lots more, so I'm gonna pick out a few favorites here.
Okay.
So you've also been in Danny Phantom. You've voiced Danny Phantom, Aldrin Pesky in the Buzz on Maggie, Sproingo Boingo in Doc McStuffins, Jack and Bricks in Goldie and Bear, Human Torch in Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and other shows like Clone Wars, Legend of Korra, Justice League. Live action shows include Little House on the Prairie, Highway to Heaven, Night's Court, Wings, ER, Hawaii Five-0, and films include Jimmy Olsen, of course, in Superman Brainiac Attacks, Justice League Doom, Superman versus the Elite, and Ruben in Green Lantern Emerald Knight. And also, oh yes, Jimmy Olsen in Superman Shadow of Apocalypse.
Yes.
I have the game with me.
That's amazing.
I try and find your name in the... I'm going to look in this.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm gonna have a look for your name. As well as other games such as Nicktoons, a lot of the Nicktoons, you voiced Danny Phantom.
Yeah, I've been doing. Yeah, still been doing a lot of Danny Phantom in video games, which is great. Danny is probably my biggest stamp, I guess, on the cultural zeitgeist, I guess, as it were. Yeah, Danny's.
Can't really see it, but there you are.
Yes. Yep, there it is.
And Andrea Romano is there, voiceover director Andrea Romano.
That's awesome. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I guess Jimmy was my second series role after Marty, because Marty in Back to the Future we did I think we only did 2 seasons of Back to the Future, and then maybe about a year after that. It's when I booked Jimmy Olsen in Superman, and then that we did a few seasons of.
Yeah, honestly, I love just the DC animated universe. I just love, and of course, what I found really special is that you starred on it with your co-star, your Wings co-star, Tim Daly.
Yes, I know, and it was so great when I walked in. I don't think I knew that he was playing Superman until I walked in. That day, and the days when it was great. There was a lot more getting the whole cast together and doing the episode all together. Nowadays, there tends to be a lot of doing everybody separately, which I know it's not as fun. I don't think it allows the actors to necessarily play off each other as much. You don't know what anybody else is really going to do with their role, and so you can't really feed off each other. I'm much more of a fan of bringing the whole cast in together and playing together. But yeah, he walked in. I was like, Tim, and again, how it leads down the rabbit hole. I had met. That was not the first time I had met Tim. Actually, well, it was actually the third time I'd met Tim, because the first time the second time I'd met him was when we did Wings together, when I guest starred on Wings with my wife, Picard.
Yeah, because your wife is an actress, isn't she?
Yes, and we played husband and wife on this episode of Wings. But the first time I had met Tim is when I was playing his sister Tyne's son in a TV movie called Kids Like These, So I actually played her stepson. I played Richard Crenna's son and her stepson. And Tim's wife, Amy, at the time, not sure if they're still married. I think they are.
Who knows?
I don't know. But I don't know. But Amy, his wife Amy, was in the movie as well. And so Tim had come to visit when we were shooting in Atlanta. So that was the very first time I'd met Tim. So yeah. Tim is a great guy. He's awesome. It was really fun working with him and Dana Delaney and
Yes, Dana, yes.
yeah. And the great
Francis
guest.
Brown and everyone like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you going to say? Sorry, you said something about your guests.
Oh, and just the fun guests, that were there,
The guests, yes.
Yeah, which is always great, which is always that's always really fun too. Like Danny Phantom, walking in one day and like, oh, there's Mark Hamill sitting in the waiting room. oh my gosh, it's Luke Skywalker sitting right here in front of me. And he played one of the villains in an episode of Danny Phantom. So, and we would have like a few minutes, like a little bit of time to hang out before they were ready for us in the studio. So, we're just sitting there. I'm just sitting here talking with Luke Skywalker about the LA traffic. That's all.
Yeah, just normal behavior.
as we do.
yeah, as you do. But Superman, the animated series, wasn't actually your first appearance in the Andrea Romanoverse. We'll go back to Animaniacs, of course. Your guest appearance is Steven Seagal. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh. Well, Steven Seagal, I'll try to remember, because I've not seen that episode
in that's completely okay.
A long time. But I do remember, thank you, Michael J. Fox. Again, they were looking for a Michael J. Fox type for this character. So that's what they wanted the voice to sort of be in that world. And so I auditioned for that, booked it. And that was the first time I met Andrea, because she voice directed Animaniacs. Because Back to the Future was for Universal Cartoon Studios, which does not exist anymore. It only existed for just a couple of years, which is a shame, because they had a really cool logo.
It was for this guy down here, Kelly Ward. I've met him. He did the conference in the UK a few years back, and I got to meet him. Like everyone, he was at a Comic Con. It was his first ever UK convention or first convention appearance altogether. It was back in 2022, but because he was put to see the original Grease film, a lot of people were there, getting Grease stuff signed. I'm just like, with him, what's it like working for Disney Animation as a voice director? I was purely there for his voice directing work and working with all these amazing people like Frank Welker and Corey Bird, who are obviously on the Superman anime series. But yeah, that just happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, wait, what were we? How did we get on?
Back to the Future was by Universal Cartoon Studios.
Yes, that was Universal, and then Andrea was at Warner Brothers, so that was the first time I met, and that
I mean, to be fair, she did get around. She did stuff for Disney, Nickelodeon, Warner Brothers. She did quite a lot of things. She did stuff for DreamWorks, sort of towards the end of her retirement, because she did the Ultron
she's
major. I know.
Knows what she's doing. She works so well with actors. She's quick, which the studios love, but she's really fun to work with too. Positive. I really love her. Love running into her.
I admire her deeply. She is. I got her. It's definitely, if not my favorite voice director. Sorry to everyone else, because I met her and she just. Everything I wished for, everything I wished for as a person. I was sat in the smokehouse, and sort of like my chair was sort of like, when there's a corridor that sort of comes down here, and then so let's say corridor comes down here, my chair is right here, and there's the corridor, and there's a pillar next to me, and I peek over my chair and I see her walking down, and I'm like, fuck. I was like, because she was probably the only person I went shy meeting.
Wow.
I was like, she came up to me and I was like, hi. I've never been shy, not even over Frank Walker or anything like that. It's just like Andre was the only person to actually leave me speechless. I was like, I love you so much. I'm so happy you're here.
Well, that's amazing that you obviously, like you've done your homework, so much about the industry.
Yes.
Really
Yeah.
impressive. I mean, it really, really is. It just like your passion for the industry, your own talent and what you do, and the show, it just really impressed me. It was one of the reasons I was like, because honestly, I get requests sometimes, here and there to do like little interviews and things like that. And so sometimes I'm like, well, let me see what this is. And I was like, no, I want to talk with her. Like so kudos to you.
Oh my gosh. I am flattered, David. Thank you. That really does mean a lot.
You're so positive. You're so sweet, and like you're like sunshine. So
I'm trying to keep positive.
fun to talk with.
Hard times, but just keeping a smile on my face is just all that matters. Just this is very off topic, but like I always have to show this to at least every single American voice actor I speak to. By any chance, I mean you were born sort of when the show was on TV. You're aware of a show called Rocky and Bullwinkle, right?
Yeah, I remember Rocky.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
That was another reason why I made the trip to Burbank. I did a documentary on Bullwinkle's voice actor Bill Scott about 3-4 years back.
Oh, wow.
So
that's fantastic.
He didn't really get any biography coverage on me. He didn't get like a book or anything, like a documentary. So I made one 2 hours long, got a lot of people from the industry to contribute to it. And then heck, there were some people who didn't even do interviews who actually thinged it. Corey Burton and I spoke for like 6 hours. And it was crazy because we're both autistic. We didn't expect to hit it off so quickly. I got Weird Al Yankovic. I got to do a 20-minute interview with him. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's he was fantastic.
And I didn't know he met Bill until I actually spoke to him. I only really spoke to him because at the time I loved his music. I'm a huge fan of his music, and he was in the Rocky Bullwinkle Amazon Prime series. But then he says to me, yeah, when I did my cover of the George of the Jungle theme, I actually brought Bill in. It was a few months before he died to re-record the yodels from the George of the Jungle cartoon.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's that's my young childhood. I'm dating myself a little bit here, but my young childhood. But yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle and George of the Jungle. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, I know the no goodness of I actually went out to LA and I met Bill's son in person for the first time. I met him and his wife. So to sort of be welcome to them, welcome with open arms, and then they pull up in the car because we were staying at the Roosevelt at the time, and basically what happened was the car broke down, so we had to call out I don't know what you call the AA, like the breakdown service in America, the car breakdown service, but John, his son, says to me, we just wanted to give you something. We have no children and we have no grandchildren, and honestly, I have a lot of my dad's stuff. I can't find any other person more deserving of this than you.
Oh, whoa, that is amazing. Is it an original cell?
Original as in it was painted as like an art piece, sort of this that would be sold at the ASIFA mall events. It wasn't screen used or anything.
Incredible.
But this was displayed in Bill's office until he died.
That's amazing.
Bill had this on his wall in his office.
That is so cool.
So it's got an ASIFA thing on it. It's authenticated by ASIFA. I have a Bullwinkle plush somewhere. I have a picture of it. I can't get it out at the moment because it just molts every time I pick it up. But there he is. That's
so great. And that is so great.
Tell it was Bill's because his name's on it.
I love it.
Yeah, so that was a fun day. That was. But anyways, yeah, honestly, your kind words, they do mean a lot, and just to share sort of the love of animation with you, it just feels great because I'm from the UK, and there isn't really a lot of people here who are deep into voiceover and animation like myself. So to sort
Yeah,
of do these interviews and talk to all these voice actors who were in shows that I admire, have got me through hard times, I've been watching over the past few years, it really does mean a lot. And it just feels like it's an instant connection. It really
that's
is. It's very heartfelt.
fantastic.
Thank you. Okay, Dave, right, okay. I've got to ask you now, Freakazoid, this is your second venture into the Romanoverse. You
Mhm.
played, of course, Dexter Douglas, who his alter ego is Freakazoid. So
Yes.
tell me a little bit about your time working on that show.
That show, now that show, we did not do a whole cast together recording.
Oh,
So I do remember, yeah, I would just come in and do my Dexter lines separately. Unless I was just, unless I was the only one not invited to do the cast review.
I haven't spoken to a Freakazoid cast member in a while, to be fair. After Hassandrea, to be fair.
Yeah, I just remember going in and doing my lines separate. And I really didn't know quite what to expect because Dexter was kind of the straight-laced, nerdy kid, nerdy son. So kind of the straight man in the show, as it were. And then um and I wasn't really aware of what Paul Rudd was doing with Freakazoid. So I came in and did all my stuff. Then later when I saw the show, I was like, whoa, this is crazy and hilarious and just, I mean, insanity. It was really, it was such a golden age, I kind of want to say, of animation. There was such a amazing resurgence in the early to mid 90s with all of the Universal Cartoon Studios and the Kids WB and all of that. It was just, it was really fun. I think Animaniacs really, I possibly kind of set that off.
Yeah. There was definitely a sort of renaissance in the 90s. I mean, it kind of was in like the early 90s with the Disney afternoon shows, but then the Kids WB stuff and the DC animated universe then came along.
Yeah. Disney had their own sort of renaissance, I guess, maybe kind of beginning with
Gummy Bears.
the what?
Adventures of the Gummy Bears, and then it was like Chip and Dale, Rescue
Oh,
Rangers,
yeah. I was
DuckTales.
sort of thinking too, like Little Mermaid,
Oh,
which,
right, okay.
the feature Little Mermaid, which was so
Yeah.
amazing. Everybody was
Oh, you
like,
want about the films? Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were on
yeah,
about
the
the TV
film.
shows.
Yeah, well, both. But like,
It does
yeah,
turn
I
into a
remember
TV show.
going to see Little Mermaid, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like the old style Disney with the hand. It was so beautiful, and that set Disney off on a whole.
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. So I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking about the cartoons. So we had like DuckTales, Tailspin. Of course, Little Mermaid was turned into a series, so was Aladdin. So you had like sort of, like Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck, that sort of renaissance.
True.
Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a magical time. I wish I was born in the 90s, to be fair. I mean, I'm only 20. I was born in 2004, so I missed out
oh
on all
my
the good
gosh,
stuff.
my daughter Grace was born in 2002, so she's just a tiny bit older than you, a little bit older than you.
Yes, I was going to ask you, your children are actors themselves, Grace and Henry Kaufman, which I thought was really cool.
Yes, well, Grace is an actor. Yeah, she's done a lot of on camera stuff, since she was 8 or 9. She most recently, like, she's been doing more films lately. She played Rebecca Hall's daughter in Resurrection, this movie called Resurrection. It
Wow.
was a great kind of
Mm-hmm.
scary movie, really good. Rebecca
Mm-hmm.
Hall's phenomenal in it. And then she was in The Sky Is Everywhere, which is on Apple TV Plus, this A24 film,
Yeah.
and that was a really cool experience for her. But she's done a lot of ironically, a lot of voiceover.
Yeah,
A lot
she was
of
in
both my kids have, kind of only because they would tag along with me to my voiceover agent, when I was auditioning, and they would want to go into the booth and they would wander in. They wanted to like play at the microphone and talk. And my daughter was uh such an extrovert and so animated, I guess, herself when she was little. So um it was just natural that they were like, yeah, have her audition for this. They threw some auditions at her, and then finally around like 8 or 9, she started booking them, and then she ended up doing a couple seasons of Bubble Guppies, and she was Melody Mouse
in Mickey Mouse with Kelly Ward.
yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
exactly.
right. That's right.
That's
Kelly
so cool.
voice directed her.
He did
Oh
all the
my gosh,
Mickey Mouse
yes.
cartoons. Yeah, all the
And I
Disney
was
Junior
like,
ones.
the first time I took her into a session over at Disney, there's Kelly. I'm like,
What? What are you
Kelly,
doing here?
the wheel has, the circle of life. You
Love
voice
it.
directed me on this, and now you're
Love
voice
it.
directing my daughter. And once Grace got a little older and she was watching Grease, and she was way into Grease, and like, oh, it's the best movie. I was like, have you noticed anything yet in the movie? And she's like, what? And I'm like, look at the T-birds. What do you look, take a look at them. She's looking, and she was like, wait a minute. And I'm like, yeah, that's Kelly who directed you in Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's Kelly. It's Kelly. So
Oh, that's warmed my heart. That's like
I know, it was really fun.
there's this voice actress, I'm not sure if you know her. Her name's Deborah Wilson. She was a previous cast member on Mad TV, but she's now doing Daisy Duck's voice, stepping in for Trez McNeil. But I remember
Wow.
one of the first times we spoke, I was like, yeah, Kelly Ward was in Grease. And she was like, really? I was like, yes. So next time she did a session with him, they actually got a photo together in the recording studio lobby. I was like, yes, you've done
Yeah,
proud.
that's amazing.
I love that. That's just a wonderful story, though. I presume Bubble Guppies was Grace's first voiceover job.
Her very first
It can't.
voiceover
No, I was
job.
going to say was it Mickey, but I don't think it was.
No, her very first one was Oso. Agent
Special
Oso.
Agent Oso. That's it. Yeah.
Special Agent Oso. Yep.
What?
And
Oh
we
my
had
God.
she did a little guest spot on that. She booked it. We were so excited. We're like, you booked this. It was her first voiceover booking. And I have the greatest picture of her with who played Special Agent Oso?
Sean Astin.
Sean Astin. Yeah. With Sean Astin. So it's a great picture of her and Sean together.
Okay, I've got to see if this is correct, because what I'm thinking in my head could be true. But whilst I try and find out this specific information, I'd like to ask you, David, about Henry's career as well, because I think he's done some voiceover as well. So was it sort of the same thing for him? He would come into sessions with audition session things with you as well?
He did. He had a very gravelly little froggy voice when he was little. And my agent, and like when he was like 3 or 4, it's still a little young for them to be like booking voiceover, because they'll tend to get like a 7 or 8-year-old that has a really young sounding voice that actually, direct and everything. But my agent was like, my agent Jeff Danis at DPN, who I've been with him. What, do you know Jeff? Have you met him?
Jeff? Oh no, it's nothing to do with Jeff. It's just the information I've just found out. Sorry, carry on. Carry on.
No.
I've heard
you know everybody. You've met the entire industry. I was like, of course she's met Jeff Danis.
I can't remember. Probably, I've not met him, but I think I might have corresponded with him before. I think I've gone through DPN for a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. But I think I spoke with Sky. I think that's her name, Sky. I can't remember her last name, but she works with DPN, I think. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, sorry, carry on.
Anyway, so yeah, my Jeff would be like, I am going to make $1 million off that kid. I'm going to make $1 million off that kid's voice. So as soon as Henry got to the point where he could start auditioning for things, he started auditioning, and yeah, he started working. Like he did He did a few episodes of Clarence. He was a character. He did the series If You Give a Mouse a Cookie.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff for Disney recently too. He's on
Firebuds. I've just seen that on his IMDb. Yes.
Firebuds. Yes. Yeah,
Wow.
Firebuds and a couple other Disney shows. So he's done a fair amount. Although now, he also did his biggest on-camera thing when he was younger was he was a recurring character on a show called Major Crimes, which was a really great show for him to do too.
Yeah.
But now he's actually he's going to be senior in high school. He's going to the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's in cinematic arts there. He has become enamored of behind the camera. So
that's cool.
Yeah, he's made a few short films. They're starting to get accepted into festivals and everything, and he's going to apply to colleges this fall. So that's I think that's going to be his journey. But as always, I think it's really great for anybody who's going to be behind the camera, especially a director or writers, who have experienced what it's like to be an actor, who've experienced performing. They learn the languages of actors and how to speak to them and know an actor's process. And I've worked with a lot of different directors, and it's in my career, and it's always really interesting to see the difference between the directors that you can tell are kind of uncomfortable with actors and not, they don't really know how to talk with them, and they just sort of tell you where to move to, and then you're just sort of standing there in the dark like, well, I'm not really exactly sure where this scene is going or where how my character fits into this world, and you're sort of at a loss. And the directors who are very comfortable with actors and love kind of discussing what the story is and where the story's going and the layers to the character. So it's always interesting to see the differences there.
Okay. There we go. Lighting's better. There we go.
Yay. There we go. Look at that.
I should have had my light on from the start. Right. So the big thing that I was thinking about just then. So the episode of Special Agent Oso that Grace was on. Now, there were two voice directors on Special Agent Oso. One did the first season, and the other did sort of the first season and the first half of season 2, and then another person took over. You're not gonna guess who voice directed Grace on Special Agent Oso.
Was it Kelly? No.
It all leads back to Kelly Ward.
It all leads back to Kelly Ward.
Susan Blue did this season 1 and the first half of season 2, because I literally have it in my emails right here.
Wait,
because I spoke to him.
Sue Blue?
Sue Blue, yeah, she did the season 1.
Okay, she voice directed me on all the Stuart Little.
Yes. She's awesome.
I love Sue too.
So Kelly said Sue directed the first season, and I believe Sue directed the first season and part of the second. I directed approximately 34 episodes of the second season, taken over from Sue, and I believe Grace's episode was in series 2, which was 2011.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's so technically
I know
worked with Kelly on your first ever voiceover jobs.
I know.
Awesome.
It's so funny. It really all crosses over. Maria Estrada, who I also really love. She's amazing. She's awesome. She voice directed me in Goldie and Bear, and she was Kelly's assistant when I did Back to the Future, the animated series.
Oh, wow. Oh,
I know.
Awesome.
So Maria goes all the way back there. So everybody, it really is.
Everyone knows each other. It's crazy.
It's like a family. It's like it's such like, it's like,
so nice.
Say hi to Aunt Kelly and Uncle Kelly for me, and say hi to Aunt Maria. Yeah, everybody knows each other. It is like a big family. It's for
Oh,
sure.
that is awesome. I was just looking at Henry's page and he's been in Scoob, which I didn't know,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
film
yeah.
Scoob. I didn't even know Chad and Chet. I can't remember who those characters were, but
They were like these bullies in one scene with.
oh yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they were like
Yes, Frank
twin
Welk was in
twin.
that.
Like they were kind of
Yeah.
skateboarding twins, and yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And of course, Kelly Ward voice directed The Lion Guard, which Henry was in an episode of. So
Yes. Yeah.
it all comes back. It all comes back.
I know. Yeah,
I
Kelly's
love it.
work. Well, he's fun to work with, you know. And
Yes.
and that's another thing to, that's another lesson for anybody that's ever, well, it's a lesson for any industry, really. If people like working with you,
Mhm.
you will work. I mean,
Yeah.
people want to work with people that they enjoy working with.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Uh-oh,
that
you just discovered something.
it just gets even better. Henry was also in Voltron Legendary Defender, which means he was voice directed by Andrea Romano.
Oh, yeah.
It was done before she retired. It was 2018. I think she retired
Yeah.
20 was it 2020 she retired? I can't remember, but it was
Hey,
definitely
I
sort
can't
of
remember.
in the last 5 years or so. But yeah, honestly, just everyone is just massively connected and everyone here is like a huge family and everyone's so nice. That's the important thing. That's what I love about this
Yeah,
industry. Like no matter where you come from or who you know, you will always get nice people working alongside you or just talking alongside you like what's
for
happening right
sure.
now.
For sure. And it's important. You want to have, when people are talking about you, look how we're talking about Kelly and Andrea,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
because they're so just enjoyable to work with and such good people. And so when you do go in to work, and again, any industry, it doesn't matter if you're a voiceover actor or you're, a school teacher or a nurse or whatever you are, if you go, if you leave work and people see you walk out the door and turn to the other coworkers and go, I love working with, I, what they make my day so much more enjoyable. I love them. People are going to want to work with you. You are going to go far in whatever industry you're working in. It's
Definitely.
it's a good lesson.
Definitely. I mean, to be honest, I felt probably for the first time in yonks genuinely happy with a vacation when I was in LA. I was the first time I've ever been sad to leave somewhere I've been on vacation, holiday. But just it made my heart so full. Everyone there was so nice. I got so many gifts from people who wanted to meet up with me, and they said I had, just like all these years I was bullied. I had a low point in my life, and then you've got people asking, do you want to meet up for coffee? Do you want to meet up for dinner and stuff like that? And then you've got Andrea Romano signing your headphones, and you're thinking, how did I end up here?
Well, seriously, next time you're in Los Angeles, we have to meet up.
Definitely, definitely,
Okay. And
definitely,
and and
100%.
hopefully, my daughter will be here. We can all get together. It'd be really fun.
It's a deal, 100%.
Good.
Oh my gosh, like it just felt like my heart is so heavy that really like I'm not in LA right now because just I love the atmosphere and just like there wasn't a moment where I felt sad or anything. No matter where I went, up Ventura County, I
Yeah.
went to Malibu, I was in Burbank, I was in LA, of course I was in sort of North Hollywood. It was like I was living a dream. Like if out there you want to go to Hollywood or something, just do it. It really like I was nervous about the whole flight and stuff like that, but the flight was all right. As soon as I landed there, because it was my first time in the States, I was like,
Oh, it
I'm gonna.
was? It was your first
It
time in the
was.
States.
Yes, I've been saving up for this trip for at least
Wow.
5 years to come out and
Oh
see
my
everyone.
gosh. And now, how long were you here?
Just over a week, which
Oh, okay.
wasn't enough time.
No, that's not
No,
enough time.
no, no. That was
Probably so many more things. I mean, there is so many more things you could do.
I know there was a lot of things that I didn't catch essentially. So there's stuff I didn't get to, people I didn't get to meet and stuff who I need to see when I next come out. But honestly, just I'm gushing about everything. I've completely forgotten what I was about to say.
You flew out, you were here for the week.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what was it? But yeah, I had to buy another suitcase when I was in LA to bring all these gifts back. Like I had people at the Transformers con as well, people gifting me Transformers toys and art and stuff. And of course I
Oh
bring
my
back
gosh,
the
amazing.
cells and everything and stuff. And like I
Did
literally
you
had
go to Nickelodeon?
I did. I
Yeah.
visited. I did because they don't do private tours, but I know someone who worked at Nickelodeon, who got me in. But like I was gonna say, because I mean I was, if I didn't get to visit, I would have been like, I did see outside, but like sorry, I did see outside, but I didn't get to go in. But yes, I actually surprisingly did get a quick tour of Nickelodeon. It was a very
It's a
lovely
fun place.
It
Fun
is.
place. Yeah.
Awesome, honestly. Like I am jealous of everyone who works there.
I know. It's like going into like a big, playground every day.
I know. Yeah, and like it's just because obviously they don't do tours. Everyone was walking past. I was like, probably gonna see. Am I gonna see any voice actors? And they're just like, and they'd be like, Amber, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm on business. I'm eating a sweet treat from the cafe. Do not disturb. But they do. I can't remember what it was. It was like a pie or something. But like these like tiny little sort of cheesecakes you got from the cafe.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful. Honestly, I would do it all over again if I got a job there.
That's awesome.
Enough of my waffling, but yeah, there we go. That was fun. I'll have to do like another story time at some point and just say, yeah, this is my trip to LA and stuff like that. But have you been to Nickelodeon before? Ignore me. You said yes. It's fun.
Because Danny Phantom, yeah, like we,
Danny Phantom, yeah.
I was there every week for several years. So such a fun place. And like you said, it's because they don't do tours. It's not like Universal or Warner Brothers where it seems a little more structured and a little more like, once you're in there, it's real cash, There's, basketball courts everywhere and people eating donuts and Mark Hamill sitting over there. And
There's a little Polaroid I took there.
Oh, yep. I recognize that. Yep. That as a matter of fact,
I had to get it there.
The window right behind you, that studio right behind you.
Yeah, this is where like it's along that place. The recording studio would be on this side.
Yeah, that's the recording. That's where we recorded Danny Phantom. Right there.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like a massive playground. Like honestly, I'd love to work there because you probably wouldn't get to work a day in your life. You just play all day.
I know. Yeah.
Man, I need to step up my game. But honestly, like, here's a good question. Anyone in the business who is just starting out, have you got any advice for them? What's the best advice you could give to someone who is sort of has their foot in the business, but needs that little boost to sort of get an agent or an audition or anything like that?
Yeah, and are you talking about specifically voiceover or any aspect of the industry?
Voiceover essentially.
Okay. The industry has changed a lot and it keeps changing. The pandemic really kind of threw everybody for a loop, because things are so different now. Everything is like all my auditions are from home. Everything is self-tape. So it's a little trickier now because there's not as much personal contact with people. Where I used to go audition at my agent's and I'd be sitting in the waiting room and there's 12 or 15 other actors there. We're all talking and just discussing the industry and the world and connections and, oh, so and so's daughter is looking for, somebody for this project or whatever. So it's a little trickier now, I think, but I think I would say take advantage of what there is now that didn't used to be like when I was starting out, which is, YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. You can get your face and your work out there. You really can, in a way that people never could do before. You were sort of stuck at that guardian gate of your agent giving you auditions, and then hopefully them giving you auditions and having you prove yourself to them. But now there's no real guards at the gate anymore. It's you can do whatever you want. So if you want something, know what you want and do it. If you have a great demo, put your demo on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Find a way to get your work known to people. And in that organic way, it can grow and catch the attention of people who might be like, that person is really talented. That person is really interesting to me. That's an interesting voice. I want to hear. Yeah. Somebody, who was it? Oh, I know it's not voiceover, but like they're doing a revival of The Wiz on Broadway. And the girl who's playing Dorothy, or the young woman who is playing Dorothy, in The Wiz on Broadway, she was discovered on TikTok. She sang on, yeah. And the casting director just, was kind of go through, and somebody alerted the casting director, said, this girl, you should look at her TikTok. Oh my gosh, I'm going to call her in for an audition. So that would be my biggest advice. Get your work out there. And just do it. Even if it's for yourself in your own little bedroom, practice voices, read scripts, listen to other working actors. And I say actors, I use that word very strongly. I think the best voice actors are good actors. So get in an acting class. I mean, if it doesn't necessarily have to be voiceover. Good animation work is done by good actors. So anytime you can get in front of an audience and work on your craft as an actor, it's going to make you a stronger actor, even in front of the microphone as a voiceover artist. So I think that would be my advice.
I think it's very good advice, David. I really do, honestly. Like, you've inspired me, like, to put out more stuff on my social media, because a lot of it's just interviews, and I need to start making more varied content.
For sure. Because like, even just like us talking, you reaching out to me, and us doing this interview right now, I'm like, I want to see Amber's work. I want to hear her reel. I want to see some of the characters that she's voiced, and and that's how it leads to, and then when I run into Kelly Ward on the street, which I'm sure I will, because you know how these things go. I'm going to run into Kelly Ward like this afternoon and go, I can't believe I'm running into you. I was just talking about you. But then I'll say, oh my gosh, Amber she's amazing. And we talk people, we talk about people. So
yeah. Well, honestly, I feel really flattered. I do have a demo, but I'm getting an updated one. I'm re-recording an updated one probably at the end of the month. I'm actually, not a lot of people know this, so this is the first time you're hearing of this at home. I'm actually going to Manchester to a studio to record my new demo. Yay!
Oh, fantastic. Yay. Yay, that's awesome. Oh, I will give another little bit of advice.
Uh-huh.
In terms of accents. I will have
Ooh.
kids come in to work because I do coach a lot of younger actors now.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's cool.
I do, like both on camera and in voiceover, as well. Yeah, I've coached so between Lisa and I both have coached quite a few really great young actors. We run this studio here in Los Angeles called the Young Actor Workspace.
Mm-hmm.
And we Lisa teaches a lot of weekly classes there, and um uh I don't know, I'm trying to think who's the most well-known. Taylor Lautner, is I coached him on all his auditions for the uh the movie
Twilight.
series
Oh,
Twilight.
wow.
His Twilight.
Okay, that's
I
big.
coached
That
him
is
on his
big.
Twilight auditions, and but what I was going to say about the accents is kids will come in to work on, they have to work on some kind of accent, and they'll be like, oh yeah, this character has to have a British accent or an English accent, or a working class British accent, and oh well, have you ever worked on an English accent? No. I'm like, ah.
Going to have
it's
to get to it.
it's a little tricky to do in an
Yes.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did work with Millie Bobby Brown many,
Ooh.
yes, on
Mm-hmm.
quite a number of when she was just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen her in a while, um, but yeah, I mean, she's off doing her thing now.
I think she's
But
like a week younger than me or something like that, which is
yeah.
precisely a week younger than me. Like she was actually born 7 days after I was.
Oh, okay, yeah. I knew that you were about the same age.
Yeah.
And she came in and we were working on,
Welcome back, Millie Bobby Brown.
yeah. And the first thing that she had to work on with an American accent, I was like, well, okay, let's try working on your American accent. She just launched right into it. She sounded more American than any other American girl I've ever worked with. I was like, this is spot on. Like it's flawless. I can't even, it's so good. And she said, well, I've been working on an American accent since I was a little kid. I just wanted to be able to do a good American accent, so I would walk around talking in an American accent and drive my family crazy. So that's a little bit of advice. Work on accents before you get auditions for them. If you want to be able to do an English accent or a Texas accent or an East Coast New York accent, work on those. Um, because as a voiceover actor, you'll be asked to do little peripheral characters sometimes in episodes of shows you're working on. And if you can do an accent, that's always great
Yeah,
to have
yeah, yeah.
in your arsenal.
I've got to ask you something, right? You've not met Michael J. Fox yet, have you?
No,
I'm
not yet.
surprised.
I know. I know.
You know, it surprised me
Um,
even more that they didn't get you for the Atlantis Lost Empire sequel they did a few years back. Like, it would have been so cool for you to
Yeah,
have
I
been
don't know. Sometimes
Milo.
things just escape. I don't know. I don't know how some, I don't know. Maybe you never know.
So
I
accurate. I love it.
I think he mentioned me. Somebody told me he mentioned me one time. Oh, I think
Oh,
when they were doing Back to the Future, the animated series, somebody, he was on a talk show. I don't know. I can't remember what talk show, but somebody said, "Oh my gosh, Michael J. Fox mentioned your name on a talk show." And I was like, "What?" And
wow.
he had said something like they said, "Oh, they're Back to the Future is gonna be an animated series." He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm really it's gonna be great. It's gonna be because it was the same uh um uh creators as the movie, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um yeah, Bob Gale, um and he said, "No, I'm not going to be doing the voice on the animated series." He goes, "But there's a really great actor named David Kaufman who's going to do a good job filling in for me on that." So I was like,
That's
yeah.
cool.
So he's aware of.
He's, Marty's in good hands. There we go. Okay, I
Yes.
nearly said Milo. I don't know why. David, I'd like to ask you one final question before we
Sure.
round off this interview. Is there a character you want to play but you've not had the chance to play yet?
Ooh. I would love to play a really good villain.
Oh, I like
I
that.
don't get a chance to play villains really very often. I don't even know if I have ever, I mean, I've played characters that had dark sides to them for sure, both on camera and then but yeah, voiceover, no, that's what I'd love to do. I think it'd be fun to play like a really good villain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to see
Yeah.
that.
I'm
Anyone
always
out
like,
there who's a casting
yeah, because I always get cast as like, I'm the perennial like nice guy teenager. You know? That's my stamp. But
Anyone out there watching, you cast him as a villain.
yes, I would love to play. We'd have to
I
find the
love the
voice
sound of that.
though.
Oh, I think you'd make a good Starscream from Transformers, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you do a really good job. Right, well, David, I'm gonna sign off here, as in like do the outro and stuff, and then I'll probably say goodbye to you real quick. So I know we've only got 2 minutes until obviously we hit our full hour.
Okay.
Awesome. Right, okay, David, where can we find you on social media? Is there anything you'd like to, sorry, microphone, quickly promote?
You can find me on social media. I'm on Instagram at David Kaufman 23. And not really on Twitter X anymore because that was
Oh yeah,
a little bit of a cesspool. So I had to get out of
you
there.
can't see likes on people's tweets anymore.
No, I know it's a whole crazy world there. It's just
yeah, I'm taking
but Instagram, yeah, David Kaufman 23. You can find me easily there. And then yeah, what was the other question?
Have you got anything you'd like to promote that you can, of course, or any?
I have some video games that I've been working on that again, I can't really because the NDAs can't really talk about them. But I do have like some video game work coming out. And hoping that you never know. I keep hearing rumblings, and every time I say this, people like freak out. So I'm not saying anything for sure.
You're not confirming or denying.
Not confirming or denying, but there have been little rumblings of Danny Phantom having a resurgence back in Nickelodeon. So
oh boy,
we'll see.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, no matter what happens, I'm always rooting for you, and I really do hope the Danny Phantom sort of rumor is true for the sake
Amber,
of
you're the best. I am so. This was such a fun talk. It flew by. My gosh.
I know. Yeah, we have to do a part 2. There's like so much to talk about.
It was really nice talking with you, and for sure that dinner or lunch
definitely. I agree. 100%.
Sounds good.
To you at home, thank you so much. Yes, you right there sitting at home, for watching this episode of In Conversation with ATF with the lovely David Kaufman. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did recording it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. And bye and cut.